I'm ready. Is it already recording?
Yes, sir.
Oh, has it been recording the time?
No, just now.
Oh, just now?
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the High Lifter Review 2021. You guys know what it is. I don't need to go over all the features. You know what it is. Snorkels, rain stuff, radiator relocate, bigger Outlaw tires, huge bumpers, front and rear, winches, gear reductions. We don't need to go over that. You guys already know everything about it. Let's talk about how well this thing actually works. In the mud, I don't think there's a better machine. I find it hard to believe that you can really get this thing absolutely buried. Everyone that comments probably typing right now, well, what about my place? My place has bigger holes. What about this? What about this? Whatever. Stock to stock, I would say this is the best mud machine you can buy for the price. The Can-Am Renegades are about, what $500 more? $1,000 more? I would say this is what I would go with. I would never go with anything else. Let's talk about, like, I guess, trail performance, because I'm sure some people who are buying this are thinking, well, what if I get it? How's it going to work on the trails? It doesn't. Don't ever trail ride this thing. It is so horrible. We did it out today. All it does is overheat. Terrible, because, you know, it's geared really high, so it's going to be revving super high the entire time when you're trying to blast on the trails. Not really the best trail machine, but for the mud, it really doesn't get much better. If you don't mind coming here, cameraman, let's talk about some things that I really do not like on this at all. Floorboards, you can already see, full mud. They literally don't clean out to save your life. Quite possibly the worst thing about this. Another thing is, I would say, is cleaning this thing. So this back rack here literally is quite possibly the worst thing to wash in my entire life. I've never washed something so horrible ever. Words do not describe how terrible this is to wash. Every time you wash it, you're like, God, I got this thing so clean. Well, the part that you can't clean is underneath the rack unless you take it apart. So it all wants to come up underneath the rack and it all runs down when you're trying to wash it. Horrible, so horrible. And then another thing, mud protection. I mean, of course, you're gonna get muddy. It's a mud machine, right? But like, when you're getting blasted, it's like grinding Renegade. You're getting blasted 24/7. Really terrible. Also, the radiator on this does feel full of mud. So underneath your camera, I don't know if you guys can see this, but so what this thing does is it sucks the air in underneath the fenders and it blows it out through the front. But the issue is these massive 29.5-inch Outlaw 2s throw mud way up underneath where that hole is and packs your radiator underneath. So you might think, oh, well, the top of a radiator is all shiny and clean, but really underneath it's still jammed full, about 4 inches of mud, and it's not getting any air through. Horrible, right? Well, let's talk about another thing. Ground clearance needs more ground clearance. Literally, that's the only thing that really struggles with this machine is every time you're going through any big mud hole, whatever it is, ground clearance is the thing that kills you. If I were anyone, I'd instantly throw a 2-inch lift on this thing, minimum. That's the next thing I'm going to do to it, and you just have to do it. Axles are really weak. I see people always, like Mud Puppy always says, the axles on this thing are really good angles, whatever. Broke 2 of mine. I'm running right now Rhino 2.0s, haven't any issues with it. Really good, I guess, now. But another thing, this winch, so good. Originally when we got it, it was kind of looped over, kind of whatever, right? But now that we got it unlooped, it's running good. I've never had a winch this strong ever. It is so good, so amazing. The headlights, I've heard issues that people, when they're jumping this thing or bottoming out the front suspension, that these tires will actually hit the back of the lights and rip out the whole casing and stuff. Now, I've never had that issue yet, and I've jumped this thing pretty darn good. Show clip now. I've heard people taking out headlights. My only issue is they've been going out because of the water. Other than that, brakes really eat through this thing. It's got maybe 100 miles on it. I already have to get new brakes on it. It's a mud machine. What do you expect? Power steering, already gone out. It really shouldn't have gone out already, but it's already gone out. Another thing I want to do is change out this gas cap. I know there's not really many issues with it, but I can kind of see where I'm really worried it's going to leak full of water. I know some Can-Ams have that issue. I've never had that issue. The rack issue I was talking about back here happens up here. This is even loose. I don't even know why this is loose. This shouldn't be loose. There's gaps in the fenders, whatever, right? The motor bay is really terrible to wash out. You can probably see it in there even. There's mud just packed in there. And you try to pressure wash it out, it doesn't just go anywhere. There's no big holes underneath. Players, come on. You got to make some drainage holes for this mud, man. It's like... Another thing I see people complain about is I fixed it, getting the new axles, is if you come back here, the belt exhaust for this, the pipe is huge. So if you run anything past these stock tires, all you're going to do is hit it with those tires. So what I've done is, if you can come in here and see this, video cameraman, you see I put I believe it's a 1-inch spacer on it. So it should, well, I mean, the front tires I run, I haven't had it hit. So right now these are 9.5, 9 wide, I think. I'm running up to, I believe they're, I want to say 12 wide. So that's what we switched it over to. Oh, it's recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Another thing I mentioned was the high gearing. People are like, oh, well, it's got 89% lower gears in high range. It's got 29% lower gears in low range. Whatever, 30 or 40% in reverse or whatever, right? That's still not enough. These Outlaw 2s are so heavy and bog so much when you're in the mud. It is ridiculous. It literally makes this 1000 feel like it's a 450. You don't realize how much power it really takes to spin these tires. It is ridiculous. Another thing I want to talk about is the exhaust. Maybe we can actually, no, we can't. But the exhaust is getting absolutely demolished. Let me get really low here. The exhaust is really getting demolished from these tires. So as you can see, these huge corner knobbies, well, they like to throw mud directly into the exhaust tip, right? Which then, in hindsight, plugs the exhaust tip. From when I've been riding in and others, the exhaust, one side will get completely caked full of mud and no air will be coming out of it. And the other one, the other side, it's coming out. So it's like a whistle and it's just horrible. It's just like, I don't know who designed this. It should not be like this at all. It should have a completely different exhaust system altogether to protect it. Oh, while we're down here, this thing, never used it. I couldn't tell you if it's watertight or not. Actually, let's see here. I've never opened this before, so I guess we'll see if it's, is it, well, all right, well, I haven't opened it yet. I haven't opened it yet. I couldn't tell you if it's watertight or not. One more thing here. I see a lot of people, right, talking about this seat. I know a lot of people say Polaris did a really bad job designing this seat. It always likes to come off in deep water spots. Those people are liars. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. When people put on this seat, there's a difference of it being put on and it's just on there. All right. I know a lot of people, I've had this issue before. So Polaris, let me show you here. Polaris put these 2 push pins in, right? You see this guy here, right? So if you have these pins in these holes, your seat will not come off in water, and I can confirm that. But if you have the seat, it's kind of like this. It looks like it's on, right? Looks like it's on, but no, it's not. It literally just can come right off in the water, which is the issue. So you can see these front pins. This side isn't even on all the way. Neither is that side. So watch. This is what we do here. We take it off. Slide this guy on. Get her on here. And now she's on. That's all we got to do. So now it's not going to come off in water at all because I'm not an idiot and I put my seat on all the way versus just part way on. Oh, another thing, this dash is amazing. It shows you everything. I know players in the previous years put these little stupid tachometer dashes on there that really aren't just that good. They need to fix that, and I'm glad they changed it on this model. Another thing, this little winch deal combination here is so horrible to push. It takes a silverback gorilla to be able to push this winch in and out. It is terrible. Mud bar, I really don't know what it's for. I've used it maybe twice. I don't really get how people use it. Maybe if you're like really in a hole and like really getting off to the side, you know, but I mean, other than that, she definitely eats. So now we're gonna run to take a short, quick break here, even though we have, I don't know how many times this video already.
At least 7.
At least 7 times. So we're gonna get an outsider perspective who's never even ridden a Polaris in his lifetime, going from LTR 450 to the heaviest, pretty much a side-by-side 1,000-pound four-wheeler, and see what he thinks. So bad. That wasn't even a snap. All right, here, I got you. Ready? I'll put this on over. Ready when you do it. There we go. All right, perfect.
All right. So as you guys know, all I've ridden is sport quads. Never touched a utility quad like this. Let me tell you, I rode it once. I kind of want to buy one now, but I'm not rich. All right, I can't afford a mud quad, like at all. Like, you take it through one hole. As you know, I don't know if you guys know, but we used to own a Can-Am Renegade. One mud hole in the shop for at least 3 weeks. I'm not even lying.
One hole equals three weeks in the shop conversion.
You know, sometimes it's more. It depends on if the hole's more than a puddle on that driveway. You're gonna be in the shop at least 5 weeks or so. Not even lying to you.
I'd have to agree with that. Yeah.
We'll say, this winch right here, you're never gonna need it with a Polaris. You got that Polaris power. You don't need a winch. Overrated. Let me tell you, these gauges right here, right? They tell you the temperature, right? You don't need that. I rode it once. It gets packed full of mud. You can't see anything. So you just go till she blows up. Kind of like a sport quad, you know? That's the only thing. Also, we'll say, exhaust down here. Oh, look at, there's still mud in it. Look at, I don't know if the camera can see that, but there's still mud in the exhaust.
Oh my God, you can really see it on camera. Yeah. How is it still? All right, let's just check out the other side here. Yeah, see, this is the clean side. You can still see the mud in there, but this one.
All right, next thing.
He moves it.
All right. As me going from a sport quad to riding this thing, I will say, this seat is actually very comfortable. It honestly is about as skinny as a sport quad if you're actually riding it. And sitting where you're supposed to, not back here like, yo, what's up, bro? No. Like this. This is how you ride it. And it's actually pretty decent. The only thing I can complain about though is this gear slap. It sucks. It sucks. You can't. It sucks. Other than that, can't really complain. Besides the stupid radiator, it's terrible. Rode it once, took it through at least, let's say, what, 10 holes or so? This thing started overheating. I'm not lying. It was overheating. It's that bad. They need to fix that.
Wait, you just stepped on the pop?
Well, I mean, I never rid a beast of a machine like that, so, Alright, first off. Outlaws. Factory tires right there. I know. You wouldn't believe me if I said those are factory. They are. I rode it with them. They're not bad. I will say, they're not bad. They're not bad. I really have nothing to compare this to besides, like, you know, a brand new Renegade that we bought and then immediately fell apart in like the first 3 minutes of loading it. Anyways, these things, for what they are, for factory tires, they eat. Other than that though, they don't clean out very good, right? They don't clean out like very good at all. Like they really suck. But like they're pretty good for like factory tires. Other than that though, you definitely need to get different tires if you're gonna ride like a mud quad. Like actually send it, not just like ride around in your like front lawn and say you own a mud quad.
Like some people.
Anyways, you need to get bigger tires. Also lighter tires, because these things are heavy. Like heavy. Good?
Which brings us to these Terache Aztec tires. You guys all know Mud Puppy lives, breathes, and just sleeps on Terache Aztec tires. I know, I heard him talking about just praising these things like they're Jesus himself, about how good these things are. You know, and I you know what? You got me. I'll be honest. I bought them. I'm like, you know, for $814 for 30x9s all around, how can I go wrong, right? How can I go wrong? Well, I did it. These tires are quite possibly the best mud tires you can get for the price. There is no better tire you can have out there. Now, we have some hole-for-hole shots, so we'll take a moment to show the Outlaws versus Teraches as I'm speaking. But so first hole we're talking about, let's talk about the Teraches, right? So when I first went through this hole, clearly I only went through twice. Wasn't really cleaned out at all when the Outlaws went through, so you'll kind of see that when it's going through. So the Teraches kind of get stuck a little bit, kind of whatever, right? Back up, make it out, no problem. Still eat all the day, right? Then I go through with the Outlaws. Outlaws, as you can see, just even the start of the video, the Outlaws are just full and caked full of mud. All the time, always full of mud. And you'll notice that in every single comparison shot I take, the Outlaws are always full of mud, where these things are always being cleaned out. Always, 24/7, always cleaned out. Another thing, trail riding. These tires trail ride so good. It literally is hard to describe how good these tires trail ride. I know Mud Puppy was praising about how much better these are on the trails, and I'm like, you know, I mean, they look pretty aggressive, right? They don't quite have as big as lugs as the Outlaws. They don't quite weigh as much. There's a 14 pound difference between these tires and the Outlaw 2s. The Outlaw 2s are tanks of tires. Now, they're not bad tires, but for the price and the weight, you really cannot beat these Aztecs, I would say.